Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Book of Unwritten Tales. In last episode, we just got the quest to unlock the ghost in the machine, whatever that is. So we're going to go ahead and try to figure that out now. Last thing I did was look inside here, so I'm going to finish up and see if there's anything
there
else.
is something else. There's a six-sided flat stone hidden under the paper. It has something a bit like a knob on the top of it.
If I remember right, there was something like that over here as well.
There's a six-sided indentation on the base. Perhaps the mounting for a statue.
There we go.
Let's see. Fits perfectly. I wonder if How pretty. The vessel's a few centimetres deep and empty. There are some brown stains on the bottom. Ooh, this must be the ominous machine which is reputed to have a ghost living in it. The vessel at its base must be for fuel. The statue has small holes in its nose, and it appears that the mouth could be opened. Hello, you in there, ghost. Give me beans for your draft. Oh, mighty ghost in the machine, give me the beans for your delicious, godly draught. Let's look at it this way. If you don't give me the beans, then I won't be able to prepare your stupid draught, and that won't be of any use to anyone.
I can't believe that worked.
Why the wait? Oi, ghost! If you're really so familiar with everything in this house, then tell me, what do I do now? Hello?
Okay, well, let's look around for a
A
minute.
dragon skull. It could have been a horntail, nasty creatures, but there are very few around these days. The last of them are now working almost exclusively as beasts of burden. They've not just lost their viciousness, they've lost their pride too. I can still remember a time when dragons were powerful. That was centuries ago, before they were subjugated to a stranger's will by the power of magic. Once they were brought under control, they were used by the hundred on battlefields. From that, very few of them survived.
Well, I think we have everything we need to at least try to begin making that stuff for the ghost. Let's see. We're gonna need some water.
That should hold. Let's give it a whirl. It worked. This means that I have a gremlin watering can full of water. The watering can with the cold well water is hanging on the metal arm.
Let's see. We have some wood.
Once they get going, they'll burn for a few hours.
Might throw some paper in there.
They'll burn well. They're dry as bone.
Take the beans and grind them up. I'm not quite sure how we're gonna start that fire.
It works. The beans are being ground to powder. That's it. A large brick fireplace. The fire grates on the outside, not inside the house. That's a bit unusual, but it does make sense if the professor doesn't wish to have an open fire inside.
That's what she said earlier. Oh, what's this?
An upturned flower pot made of clay. There's a stone under it. That could be a firestone. That's coming with me. Presumably
Nice.
the professor wanted to prevent the stone getting wet.
That works for me.
I'll give it a go. What? Let's see.
Well, the sound
water's
effects are
boiling.
pretty good.
A watering can full of hot water.
Let's add the stuff
Very
together.
well. The water's turning brown. And it smells... lovely. That's the fuel for the machine sorted.
Alright, let's head back inside then. Hopefully that's all this guy wants. Although if that's it, this is a pretty short level.
And woe betide if this whole effort's in vain.
Okay, that looked like a monkey to me.
Hello? You there, ghost. I have to find the secret cellar. Will you help me?
Oh great, nothing happened? There we
A clever mechanism.
go. Settle him down and see what's down there. Although that mirror thing kind of makes a little bit more sense
The
now.
legendary secret cellar. The cellar continues on behind these bars. I can't see anything, but I bet that the book's in there somewhere. Each of these 3 stone figures by the bars is decorated with a different precious stone. This one here's got a ruby on its head. The spider has an emerald on its back, green. This bird has an eye made out of a blue precious stone. I think it's a sapphire. The sad remains of extinct cultures, and of the last camping trip. I can't discover anything of interest amongst this junk. A staff, approximately 2 meters long with a top made of bronze. Looks like something's missing there. This picture seems to indicate that a ruby belongs in there.
There we go, mirror.
A small, fat figure. She's holding a mirror above her head. Looks ancient. A small, fat figure. A picture on a stone slab. It depicts a man in a robe with a staff in his hand. A jewel is glinting in the headpiece of the staff. Some sort of light beam shining on it.
You know, first they did the little whip.
A small circular opening in the ground. It's decorated with an ancient script, just like the picture on the wall.
You know, they did the whip with her at the very beginning of the game. Now, a reference to another Indiana Jones movie where he's doing the...
Guess even a secret cellar is in the end just a cellar. And all cellars have gardening tools, such as these gardening shears.
You know, where he's holding the staff and trying to find the
As long
location.
as I'm not expected to do the gardening now.
You know what, I'm going to hold on to the staff for a little bit.
Strong iron bars without a door or lock. Behind it is a dark room. I somehow have to open the bars.
And those shears, if I remember right, there was something in the garden, but I don't remember what. We couldn't get to it because it was so overgrown. I'll go out there and take a look.
I can't remove the undergrowth with my bare hands. It's very... I don't believe it. Now I've ended up doing the gardening. It is indeed a gravestone. A little gravestone made of granite that's got Pinsky inscribed on it. A little gravestone made of granite.
Okay, that's it. You know, while we're out here, we'll try to open that.
The window's open. The last rays of sunlight can enter the house. The window's open.
See, I told you guys. That was obvious. Still need a gem, though.
Perhaps a memento from one of the professor's expeditions. Nothing else in there. There's nothing more there of interest.
Guess we can talk to her again and see if they have anything to say. Anything new, at least. Or useful.
Yoo-hoo!
Let's see. Oh, here we go.
I know you've never been down there, but there was a staff in the cellar, and there's a precious stone that belongs on the top of it, a ruby. Do you know where it is?
But of course, Mortimer. You asked me to hide it for you. Don't you remember?
I must have forgotten about that.
Oh, what would you do without me?
Could you please just give it to me? I just need it for a second.
What?
The jewel! And before you ask, I mean the stone that you put somewhere safe for me. And please don't tell me that you've forgotten.
How could I forget that? You said it was very important that no one found the stone.
Oh, okay. Now please can I have it back?
Why would I give a complete and utter stranger Mortimer's stone?
But I am Mortimer.
Don't be ridiculous. You're too tall, too thin, too hairy.
I guess it couldn't be that easy.
Those things there.
I'm a friend of Mortimer. He's sent me to fetch something out of the cellar.
I have never seen you here before, and I never forget a face.
Please, it's urgent.
I do not know whether I can trust you. I would only give a really good friend of Mortimer's the jewel.
That's me. I saved his life. Well, maybe.
Really? If you are truly a good friend of Mortimer, then you will be able to give me the answer to the following question.
Oh, great. Here we go.
What color is his underwear?
You know what? I think that was in the bucket over there. It was gray, white, and I guess I don't see those, so I'm gonna go with
Red. He mostly wears red underwear.
That's right! Red silk underwear. But I'm still not quite satisfied. So, what is his cat's name?
that's probably the grave outside.
His cat died some while ago. Her gravestone's outside. Her name was Kinski.
It was a tomcat. The poor thing was always so happy, playing with my bandages.
Yes, very sad, very sad. But hopefully this proves that I am a good friend of old Mortimer, does it not?
You have only answered one of my questions.
2? You asked me about his underwear.
But why would his underwear be of any interest to me?
Oh my god.
Oh, come on, don't change the subject. Are you going to give me that jewel now?
No, not yet. I have one last question.
Oh, great.
What did Count Grunschfeld or Pieperbock say to his adjutant Henninger shortly before the Battle of Budleberg?
Huh?
Wrong.
No, I just don't understand what you're talking about.
I am a trifle unsure about this too. It is a bit like a coded question.
And do you know the answer?
Of course. Mortimer told me.
And you haven't forgotten it?
No. So, what is the answer?
I'm getting the feeling that I can't get this one wrong. I'm gonna go with this one.
234, of course.
Oh? What?
234. I know all about that. Mortimer told me many times.
234 what?
How can anyone who is a good friend of Mortimer not know that?
But how? What?
234. Mortimer never told you that.
Well, yes. 234?
So it turns out that you aren't such a good friend after all then, if you don't even know anything about the 234.
Oh. Oh, that! You mean that 234?
Yes, exactly.
With that thingy?
Precisely. I see that you are a good friend of old Mortimer's after all.
Of course.
Splendid! Now that you've proven that, can you give me the jewel?
At last.
Oh, nice.
Many thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's put the two together.
Fits perfectly.
Now we can go back downstairs. Yeah, that bucket there and that grave outside didn't make any sense why they would put that. They usually just don't throw stuff in unless you use it in some way. So, you gotta be able to turn this.
The light beam is reflected by the little figure's mirror, but it's simply shining onto the floor. There are strange marks on the figure's pedestal. Looks like the figure may have been turned. I've got to try and turn it back to its original position.
There we go. See, this could be kind of difficult because they don't let you interact with an object until they want you to be able to do that. So, you can look at something. You can look at something many times and you just can't use it until finally, like that right there.
This must be the secret book. Oh, it's been written by hand and there are several pictures. There are a few words written in orange ink. That doesn't exist, does it? The artifact of divine fate. This is serious. I should get this book to the Archmage as quick as I can. As long as I don't bump into the sorcerer or his troll, I should manage to make Seastone by midday tomorrow. Shouldn't be a problem. Uh-oh.
That was it? That was the equivalent and I broke